What's up, guys? It's Ian here, back today with another video for the question and answer video series. Um, first, thank you for joining. Make sure you leave a like down below, comment, and ask me some new questions, and I'll address them in my next video. Alright, let's start. The first question is there a best time of day to exercise? So, as a general rule, I like to be fully awake before I begin exercising. I try not to roll out of bed and do any really strenuous training immediately. Maybe you can wake up and do some mild training immediately, but for the really difficult stuff, I try to avoid being half asleep when I do it. So I like to wake up and maybe give it a few hours before I jump into any type of difficult training. So everybody reaches a level of awakeness at a different rate. Some people like to drink coffee or have an energy drink. Some people avoid caffeine entirely. Depending on you as an individual, I'd like to say anywhere from 1 to 3 or 4 hours after waking up is probably going to be ideal to achieve a good level of awakeness. Now, if you have to work within a couple hours of waking up and it's unreasonable for you to try to get in exercise immediately after, in that 3 or 4 hour window after waking up, I would rather exercise after work than first thing in the morning, for the reason that if I'm working a job that is somewhat tiring, this will help me avoid overtraining by tailoring my target training intensity and volume of that day. If I am auto-regulating my training a bit, it's going to allow me to adjust my training based on how tired I am from work. Whereas if you train first thing in the morning and then you train super hard and then you have to go and work all day, and it's not really a job where you can control your workload, you can't really afford to nap in the middle of the day. Well, if you have just a really hard day at work and you trained super hard in the morning, this can definitely either lead to overtraining or poor recovery. So I like to be well awake before I go and work out. This is anecdotal, but I have found that I tend to pick up more injuries when I work out first thing in the morning. So for myself personally, I do tend to gravitate to working out around midday. If I had no work obligations, I would probably work out around 2 or 3 p.m. if I woke up at 8 or 9 a.m. If I woke up at 4 or 5 a.m., I might wait till 9 or 10 a.m. to work out. So I do give myself a 4 or 5 hour buffer space before getting into my training for the day. You might be able to get away with a little bit less runway time of being fully awake the easier your training session is that day. But if you want to go hard, you definitely want to be fully awake, and keep in mind that if you're not just a full-time, athlete or lifter or, bodybuilder, whatever, category you are in, if you're not just a full-time athlete, you do have to balance your work and training. And I find that as a warning, if you train too hard in the morning and then you have a hard day at work, you might just under recover, and then it could potentially mess up the rest of your training week. And as I've said in other videos, your optimal results and progress are going to be an accumulation of many different training events, and not worry too much about sacrificing going super hard on one day. As long as you get in some amount of training, maybe you skip it entirely. You'd have to have a pretty good reason to skip it entirely, but yeah, let's say if you have a good reason, I would focus on the long-term trajectory and balancing it out with your life stress. So yeah, there's not really a best time of day to work out. Just focus on when do you wake up and go to sleep. People have different chronotypes. You can look more into chronotypes later on. There's certain other considerations, like individuals with diabetes or other metabolic conditions. This can have a significant effect on what time you might want to exercise. That's something you should consult your doctor about. I could make an entire separate video regarding exercise considerations for individuals with diabetes, even though that's kind of outside of the scope of my teachings because I'm not a medical doctor. Definitely consult your physician about that if you do have diabetes or another metabolic condition. And for the average person without any pre-existing conditions, I'd say just base your training somewhat off your chronotype, be fully awake, give yourself a few hours after waking up, and that time that it takes to be fully awake is going to be different from person to person, so just keep that in mind. And let's move on to the next question. Drink some water here. All right. Second question. What are the benefits of massage? So, this is a tough question to answer. Obviously, some of us like massages. Not everybody likes them, so let's get that out of the way. But for people who like them, they feel good. They may provide temporary pain reduction effects and temporary improvements to mobility, but these effects are somewhat fleeting, and I don't think that they're permanent or long-lasting. They definitely provide psychological benefit. So when we look at the statistical, scientifically proven benefits of massage, they definitely have psychological benefit. All right, so we can get that out of the way. There are certain people out there who will say that they have no statistically significant effects. I've read a lot about it actually, and they do have statistically significant effects on psychology. So they can make you feel more accepted or just give you a general positive outlook. And by improving your psychological state, that can have other benefits. It can be a strong placebo, depending on how you look at it. I personally enjoy them. I think they feel good. So if you have somebody who's offering you free massages, like, your friends or significant others, I would just go ahead and take them because they feel good and they provide psychological benefit. Now, they don't come without risk, so be careful. If you have somebody giving you a massage who's either has a poor understanding of anatomy, or they're very strong, or just able to impart a large amount of force, like they're putting all their weight on you, really anything of that sort, they can inflict injury. They can cause bruising, injury to different soft tissues in the body. So it doesn't come without risk. There is some risk involved with receiving massages. With that being said, I think if the person giving them is careful and can avoid injuring you, yeah, go ahead and get them if you're getting them for free. Where I have qualms with this is essentially that, as I mentioned in the beginning, I think the benefits to your mobility and pain reduction effects, they're very fleeting and temporary. So they're not long-term permanent effects. They don't last a long time, and they're generally very expensive. So unless you're super wealthy, I would avoid just getting a massage every day just to deal with your pain. I would more recommend resistance training and reframing your mindset as better long-term pain management tools. And this is going to really help you the most long-term and probably be more cost-effective than getting a massage every time you have a small ache or pain. Now, if you're getting your massages for free, maybe that's a different story. Maybe you can get them all the time. But for all the trainers out there and, massage therapists, I'd like to come clean with my clients and say, if you really enjoy this, sure, I'll give you like a 5-minute massage at the beginning of our training session or at the end, whatever you prefer. If you really enjoy it and you find that the psychological benefit is enough that it's worth 5 minutes of our training session together, then maybe that is worth it to you. That's up to the individual client to decide, and you should present them the most up-to-date facts and literature that you can. You shouldn't shroud it in mystery and pretend like, oh, this is going to be a permanent fix and permanently reduce your pain. Maybe if they believe that it is, then maybe it is. I don't know. But yeah, that's a bit complicated. We could go down that rabbit hole some other time. But as far as I'm concerned, and as far as what the literature says, I think most of the effects on your mobility and perception of pain are temporary and fleeting, and it's a very expensive way to temporarily affect your mobility and pain perception. So with that being said, if you're getting them from somebody who is unlikely to injure you because they're very tactful and have a good understanding of anatomy and they're free, yeah, go ahead and get them. If you're unlikely to get injured from it, and it's cost effective or free to you and you enjoy it, sure. I don't want to just, ruin this profession and just, tell you not to do it generally. I think there are statistically significant psychological benefits to it. To rephrase that again, there are some proven benefits, psychological benefits. So, yeah, take that info for what you will. Yeah, I used to believe that it had all of these like permanent kind of like long-term effects, like it was this, magical panacea type thing. Yeah, and I'll come clean and I'll say that, at one point I was deluded and I didn't do my due diligence and learn enough about it, and I may have told some people that it was more effective than it really was. And if you're one of those people and you're now watching this video, I'm sorry about that. But I just want to put this info out there now that I know more, and hopefully you can share this info too. I'm trying to be nuanced and tactful. I think there are benefits. There's also risk involved. So, keep that in mind. And hopefully this information was useful to you. If you want any more clarification on the effects or benefits of massage, best time of day to exercise, I will try to make a whole nother video regarding time of day to exercise for individuals with diabetes or metabolic conditions, and hopefully I can shed some light on some of those issues too. Anyways, if you made it this far and you enjoyed this video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the bell button. Share this with your friends. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.